What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/ProRevenge. Alright, this story's called, "My ex-advisor plagiarized my work, so I exposed her and that cost her job." Just found out about this subreddit and had to share this story. The initial reason for this revenge happened in 2013, but the revenge only happened in 2017. I'll keep everything vague as not to be recognized. For context, back in 2013, I was a graduate student pursuing my master's degree. That was my last year in the program. We had 24 months to finish all the work and the dissertation. My advisor was a professor who was very well known and experienced in my field of work. Let's call her Janet, fake name. Janet and I had worked together with research since my college days, as I became part of an undergraduate research with her. At that point, we had been working for about 4 years, and as with any advisor-student relationship, we had our disagreements quite often. Janet was used to doing her experiments in a certain archaic way. I knew there were better uses of our grant money and always tried to push toward a more advanced method, especially correlating data collection and statistics. However, our relationship was always good. I knew her husband and had been to her house numerous times. She was a little set in her ways, but we managed to make good progress in our field. Anyhow, by the end of 2013, I presented my dissertation to the department and was approved with flying colors. My data still wasn't published in any papers. I wanted to have more analysis in different areas to make a more robust and better paper. With that said, my dissertation was published, and by all reasons, that is my work and my experiments. After I got my master's of science, I decided to pursue a PhD. While I was still going to work in the same field, I wanted to use different techniques, and thus talked with Janet about going to pursue a PhD under a different professor in another university. She always encouraged me to do better and look for ways to diversify my views. I went ahead and contacted a professor outside my country in another university to pursue my PhD. I got approved and soon moved away. For the next 2 years, I still kept contact with Janet, but on the third, she stopped responding. Initially, I thought she had changed her email or something, but didn't think much of it. Time flew by, and in 2017, while reading papers and writing my own, I came across a paper that was strangely similar to my research. Interested in it, I opened it up. My shock. It was my paper by my ex-advisor. She was up as advisor and another guy who from his curriculum is her current master's student. What? Reading the title, I thought, hey, that's neat. She continued researching it. But boy, was I wrong. Reading the paper, I got increasingly angry. That wasn't new research. It was my research. My data was all in that paper, even my graphs and tables. Initially, I thought, oh well, she's also an author, and if she's citing it, there shouldn't be a problem. But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. My name was nowhere near that paper, as they claimed that research as original. Now, I was livid. I sent an email to Janet confronting her, which was never replied to. However, I am not a pushover and will never allow people to claim my own work as theirs. She made a mistake by using my data. I'm a researcher, and I keep everything I ever worked on saved in external SSDs encrypted, all in my own possession, all cataloged with date entries, and even had my own dissertation to prove my work. In my country, research is financed by the governmental grants. I wrote an email to the dean of the grants institution, explaining the whole situation with proof of everything. I also sent an email to the journal in which that was published, contesting their paper and explaining everything. It didn't take longer than 15 days for me to get a follow-up. The institution responsible for the grant was furious. They cut all financial aid for her and her students and made a formal requirement to the university requesting requesting her immediate termination. The journal retracted the paper and is now suing her for plagiarism. Now, after all these years, I learned that she was indeed fired and hasn't been able to work in the field ever since. I never met her again and have no intention of ever doing so. Now my work is published and I'm recognized by my contributions in the field. Maybe that was a petty thing to do, but I couldn't allow people to get away with claiming my work is theirs. Edit. Wow. Didn't expect so many replies. Thank you for the words. A few things. The only reason I said it was petty is because since she is also an author, she has the right to publish it, but she needed to include me on the paper, which she didn't do. Also, there are laws in place in my country that allow the journal to sue her. This is not an international journal. That's why that happened. I work with medical research for those that asked, but I can't share the paper as that would easily identify me. Another thing, people have been questioning my terms. In my country, a master's candidate needs to present a dissertation and a PhD candidate needs to present a thesis. Sorry if I wasn't clear enough. Cheers. Okay, yeah, 100%. Plagiarism is a big deal. It's no joke. As someone as experienced as that lady was, she 100% knew what she was doing was wrong. And that's probably why she ghosted you. Because, yeah. Also, good job on your accomplishments, and I wish you further future successes. Further future. Is that redundant? Let me know. Alright, this story's called Break My Phone? You'll Pay for the Damage. Hello, wonderful people of Reddit. I have a lot of time to myself today. My friend/employer is taking the kids out for a walk, and I decided to post my own personal story of revenge here after my friend suggested it. She also insisted on helping with my username, so thanks for that. I was always the kid people picked on at school. The girls would spread rumors about me, and the boys would harass me non-stop. See, I'd always known that I wanted to be a nanny. I loved babysitting and looking after kids, so it seemed like a natural career choice for me. I made the mistake of telling this to a girl who I thought was my friend, and she proceeded to tell everyone at school. As this was perceived as feminine, I instantly became a target for bullies. There was one boy who loved to terrorize me. I'll call him Jack for the sake of the story. Jack was awful. He would follow me home whilst throwing things at me, vandalizing my schoolwork, call me disgusting names, steal my stuff, cut my hair in class, etc. I was terrified of him. It got to the point where I couldn't sleep from the fear of having to deal with him at school the next day. I blame him and his friends for the anxiety I had, and still somewhat have to this day. I reached my breaking point not long after Christmas when I was 15. My family never had a lot of money, but we got by. My mom had saved for ages in order to buy me my first phone. No, it wasn't the newest model, but I didn't care. I was so grateful to have my first phone, and a little guilty that my mom had gone without her new Christmas outfit and had put off fixing her own phone to buy it for me. Once the schools went back after Christmas break, Jack found out about my phone. He took it from me and proceeded to read through my messages, making fun of me for the lack of contacts and telling my mom I loved her. Then threw it to the floor and stomped on it in front of his friends. I was furious, upset and devastated that this schlonghead had destroyed something that my mom had worked so hard to buy for me. I started planning my revenge. I knew through the grapevine that Jack's mom was a stay-at-home mom. His dad had a well-paid job, and his mother was quite happy to stay at home with the kids, 4-year-old twin girls. I also knew, however, that she didn't get to go out much as Jack would flat out refuse to babysit, and she was pretty picky when it came to who was allowed to look after her kids. I used to babysit for her friend's little boy and was pretty good at it, if I do say so myself. However, for my plan to work, I had to babysit Jack's siblings. I made a few comments here and there to the little boy's mom about wanting to get a few more babysitting jobs so I could save up money for my mom's upcoming birthday. As luck would have it, the lady recommended me to Jack's mom, since it'd been so long since she'd been able to go out with the girls. For the next few weeks, I'd go to Jack's house with the other little boy I was babysitting and look after his little sisters. Despite Jack's awful attitude, his family were all pretty nice. Jack wasn't usually in the house, but when he was, I could see that it killed him to have to be civil to me. His mom would have flipped out if he'd been horrible to me in front of her or his little sisters. They'd have quickly ratted him out. Once I decided enough time had passed, I put my plan into action. See, Jack was one of those creepy kids that like to brag about his adult magazine stash in his bedroom. That made him cool to his friends. Never understood why, to be honest. Anyway, every time I'd babysit and put the little ones to bed, I'd sneak into his bedroom and search around. I know this is a massive invasion of privacy, but I was a stupid 15-year-old kid and I couldn't take his bullying anymore. I eventually found his stash and made a mental note that they were in a bag in his closet. I'd been observant those few weeks, so I knew that Jack's mom and dad had an unopened bottle of vodka in the fridge. They didn't drink a lot, and it was only for when they were going to parties. One night, once the little ones were asleep and Jack was out with his friends, I went to the fridge, opened the bottle of alcohol, and tipped about a quarter of it down the sink. His parents could afford to buy a new one, by the way. If they couldn't, I'd never have done it. And snuck up to Jack's bedroom and hid the bottle in the same bag as his stash. His parents found out about it not too long later, and after Jack accused me of taking it, they showed up at my door. They weren't angry because they still didn't know who had taken it, so they asked me some questions. I denied everything, but was polite and even offered to help them look for it in case it'd been misplaced. They thanked me but told me that it was fine, they'd find it. And oh boy, did they find it. I was called over the next day to take the little ones to the park for an hour or so in order for them to have a talk with Jack. They didn't like arguing in front of the twins. It frightened them. When I got back, Jack was in his bedroom. If the noises were anything to go by, he was crying. It turns out that he'd ratted himself out. His parents found the bottle of alcohol in his room along with his adult magazines. His mother hated anything like that, as she found it to be degrading to women. She humiliated him by gossiping to the neighbors about his unhealthy obsession with sex. He denied everything and accused me of planting the alcohol there. When asked why I do that, he ratted himself out by saying it was payback for him breaking my phone. His parents flipped out. They'd had no idea their son was such a bully. They took away his phone, grounded him, and made him sell his games console to pay to get my phone fixed. I had been saving up the money myself for a few weeks. His face when they made him hand me the money will stay with me forever. His parents questioned me about the bullying, eventually informing my mom as well. I'd hidden it from her and told her I dropped my phone. He got into a lot of crap at school after a few other kids came forward about the bullying they'd endured at the hands of Jack and his friends. A few of them, including Jack, got suspended. Jack's parents even made him go door to door to apologize to the people he tormented. I was reluctant to take the money at first, as it was way over the amount it would cost to get my phone fixed. So his parents compromised and told me to take enough to at least cover the repair cost. Needless to say, with the phone repair covered, I managed to get my mom an awesome birthday gift. I know this is really long and really badly written. I'm not a writer, so please forgive me for any errors. Edit. So I didn't expect this to get so many upvotes. Thank you all for the kind comments and awards. I've been reading all the comments and I apologize for not being able to reply to every single one. Anyway, just wanted to say thank you to all you kind peeps. That was a really good story and really nice of you to appreciate your mom and get her a nice gift with the money that you had saved up. And also, Jack's parents, they seem like pretty cool people. And it's a good thing that they made him own up to his actions. Alright, last up, we have another ProRevenge story. I know, I'm sorry, I'm supposed to do wholesome stuff, but I couldn't find anything, okay? Not anything worth reading. Anyway, so last story up is called, My Coworker Destroyed the PTA. Hey, that's wholesome in and of itself. The PTA sucks. Wait, no, that's the HOAs. Anyway, sorry. I worked in a state senator's office with a very smart and capable mom. She was the senator's aide, but that was only for part of the year, and I'm fairly certain she didn't really have a career apart from that. But incredibly capable. This lady would always surprise me with the things she had done. Like, once she casually mentioned the time she had gone to some conference in Australia to give a speech, and I was like, wait, what? My favorite thing she told me about was when she destroyed her local PTA. So in the States, we have these organizations called Parent-Teacher Associations. It's a national organization with local chapters for different schools. They exist to foster relations between parents and teachers, but usually just turns into lots of Karens making unnecessary rules, getting upset over stupid things, and generally causing problems. Usually staffed by the type of people who like to create and solve problems to justify their existence. Sort of like an HOA for schools. Hey! Anyway, this lady was no Karen. She didn't create problems, she solved them. She hated the PTA at her children's school. It was always causing problems and had budget problems. When it finally began getting field trips and recess band and wasting fundraising money and membership dues on administrative costs, among other issues, she decided she had had enough. She joined the PTA, worked her way through its ranks, volunteered at all the events, ran for office, and became president of the PTA. She then used the bylaws and her influence to disband the chapter. The kicker is, she then created her own local club to replace the PTA, one that wasn't influenced by a national parent organization and bureaucracy. She was able to raise tons of money for awesome events, projects, and trips for the students and ran the club way more effectively than the PTA had ever been. And everyone at the school lived happily ever after. Such a cool lady. That is a really cool story. She's the type of person that would do well in lots of positions of power. Hell, she should run for office, local, state, national. Obviously, I'm kidding. I need to see her views on the whole ballpoint versus gel pen debate. Then she'll have my vote, if she has the right opinion. Gel pens are better.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.